You publish a page, Google crawls it, and then nothing happens. No rankings, no traffic, just stuck in crawled, currently not indexed limbo. So here's the real question. If Google already saw your page, why did it decide not to index it? And even more importantly, how do you actually get Google to change its mind? I've come across the crawled, currently not indexed status thousands of times on client sites and on my own projects. And after a while, one starts to notice patterns. Some pages get indexed quickly, others just sit there. And when you dig into it, there's always a reason. Google doesn't just skip pages randomly. Here's what I'm going to walk you through. First, what crawled currently not indexed actually means, so you know what you are looking at. Then, how to quickly check if this is even a real issue, not just something you can ignore. And finally, the reason pages get stuck here and what you can do about it. What's interesting about this status is that it's rarely random. When a page gets crawled but not indexed, something didn't line up. And once you start looking at it that way, things become a lot easier to understand. Now, let's start with what this actually means. When you see crawled, currently not indexed in Google Search Console, it simply means Google visited your page but decided not to include it in its index. It might index it later, or it might never do it. And this is where most businesses start overthinking things, because they assume something is broken. But in many cases, Google just wasn't convinced yet. Now, before you try to fix anything, there's something more important. You need to figure out if that page should even be indexed in the first place. Because not every page belongs in Google. For example, if you have search results pages on your site, filtered product pages, or multiple variations of the same content, those often don't need to be indexed. Same with old blog posts that are no longer relevant, or pages that don't really add anything new. Google sees those and thinks, I already have enough of this. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that. So, step one is simple. Look at the page and ask yourself, if someone searched for this, would this page actually deserve to show up? If the answer is no, then you don't need to fix anything. You can leave it as it is. And by the way, this alone saves businesses a lot of time. Because I've seen businesses spend hours trying to fix pages that were never meant to rank in the first place. That's like trying to get your grocery list indexed in Google. Technically possible, but possibly not the best use of your time. Now, once you've filtered out the pages that don't matter, the next step is to check if this is even a real issue. Because sometimes it's not. Google Search Console isn't always up to date. You might see a page marked as crawled, currently not indexed, but it's already indexed. So here's a quick way to check. Take the page URL and search it in Google using citeyourdomain.com/page. If it shows up, you're good. You can also use the URL inspection tool inside Google Search Console. That gives you a more accurate real-time status. This takes less than a minute, but it can save you from going down a rabbit hole that doesn't exist. Now, if the page really isn't indexed, this is where things get interesting. Because now you are not guessing anymore. You are trying to figure out what didn't line up. And instead of looking at random factors, it helps to group things into a few common situations. You don't need to check everything. You just need to recognize the pattern. The first group is content. If your page is very short, too similar to other pages, or doesn't really add anything new, Google may just skip it. because from its perspective, there's already a better version available. The second group is structure. If nothing on your site links to that page, or it's buried deep where users wouldn't normally find it, Google treats it as low priority. Internal links act like signals. No signals, no importance. The third group is technical. Sometimes the page loads slowly, or the content isn't fully visible when Google tries to render it. So even though the page exists, Google doesn't really see it properly. And then there's context. New websites, for example, often run into this, or sites that publish a lot of pages at once. Google doesn't process everything immediately, it prioritizes. And here's the important part. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to identify which of these applies to your page. Because the fix depends on the reason. If it's content, improve the page. Make it clearer, more useful, more specific. Give Google a reason to care. If it's duplicate or very similar content, you might need to combine pages or redirect them. If it's internal linking, link to that page from stronger, more visible pages on your site. Help Google understand it matters. If it's technical, fix what's preventing the page from loading or being seen properly. And if the page just doesn't have much value, it's completely fine to leave it unindexed. Not every page needs to rank. Now, quick side note. If you are not sure how to go through all these checks, I've put together a simple SEO audit checklist. It's the same process I use when I look at issues like this. You can download it below and go through your site step by step. Now, let's come back to the original question. Why didn't Google index your page? Because something didn't line up. Either the content wasn't strong enough, or the page didn't seem important, or Google had better alternatives already. And once you fix that underlying reason, indexing usually takes care of itself. You don't need tricks. You don't need to keep resubmitting the page 10 times and hoping something happens. We've all been there, clicking request indexing like it's a refresh button that magically fixes everything. Google just needs a clear signal. And if you are looking at your own site and you are not sure what's causing it, you can book a consultation with me using the link in the description. I'll take a look at your site, help you figure out what's actually going on, and show you what to focus on next. Also, if you want to understand how to get more of your pages indexed consistently, not just fix this one issue, watch this next video, because this is just one piece of a much bigger system. And once that system is in place, this problem shows up a lot less.